if you don't have the capacity to understand nuclear physics, how do you get to the point where you can build a car? You have gone through the process of learning mechanical or electrical engineering or the engineering basically of building cars. How do you get to the point where you can operate on brains as a surgeon? You can carry out surgical practices, surgical. How do you get to that point as a person? Or just a moment. How do you get to that point as a person? What gives you that ability as an individual? The thing that gives you that ability as an individual is that you have what do you call it? You have the, I want to, just want to quickly go live on this other device as well. Is that you have the capacity as an individual, right? You've gone to medical school. You've gone through that process. You've gone to medical school. So it is going to medical school that has empowered you with the ability to what? To practice neurosurgery as an individual. You cannot practice neurosurgery. You can't be a neurosurgeon if you've not developed the ability, right, of neurosurgery, which is what medical school gives you. So, what the Word of God is saying is this, that through faith, we understand the worlds were framed, right, by the Word of God. And we explain that, understand there. The word means that it speaks about what the heart perceives through what the eye sees, right? So, faith gives you the capacity to relate with the invisible God. So, the primary function of faith is not the acquisition of things or the meeting of material needs. Mm-mm. The primary function of faith is that it gives me the capacity to relate with God. And so if as a believer, right, I am interested, like I'm conscious and I understand, right, that my role in participating with God is to build a life with Him, right? And as a believer, the idea is that I am building with God. That's the idea. Then I must understand that faith is the vehicle through which I do that. So it is the thing that I must build into my, it's like the software that I must build, it's the code I must write on my inside to have the operating capacity. So like I was saying, right? I can't just get up now and go to a hospital and say, I'm a neurosurgeon. I want to operate on someone's brain. That's how. From where? It's not possible. Do you understand? I don't have the software. I don't have the technical ability on my inside to validate that I have the capacity or the experience to do that. So it's the same thing with God. Faith is the software that you write. It is the blueprint that you build to have the capacity to relate with and to work with this invisible being that we call Jehovah. So, the first thing I've established about what makes faith important is that through faith, we understand that the world, this is Hebrews 11:3, that the worlds were created, or the world were framed rather by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made out of things which do appear. So again, when the Bible in Jude 20 says, building up myself on my most holy faith, Holy Ghost, the Bible in Romans 10 says, right, that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word. We need to go beyond the acquisition of material things as our immediate and first application of the matter of faith to understand that it is the software that we must build in our inside to work with and to relate with God. God cannot be seen. You have never seen him. I have never seen him. So without that software, we don't have the qualification to do what? To walk with God. So what's the first thing that makes faith important? The first thing that makes faith important is this. It gives you the capacity to relate with the invisible. The second thing that makes faith important is this. You see, God is about the process. God is about the process. God is about the process. You see, because God is about who we much more than what we have. What we have is a secondary product to who we are in dealing with God. So the work of the Spirit in our lives is that primarily the Spirit of God, and you can see this clearly in Romans 6, 7, and 8. Romans 7, Paul is that look, he's saying, oh wretched man that I am. that the things I will to do, I do not. The things I will not to do, that I find myself doing.